You will hate yourself. I repeat, you will hate yourself. If 10 years from now you look back and realize you had the power and you did nothing. You were not beaten by the world. You were beaten by your own delay, your own weakness, your own betrayal of the voice inside you that dared to want more. Most men are not destroyed by failure. They are destroyed by the slow decay of compromise. They tell themselves, tomorrow I begin. And in doing so, they sell their future for a false peace. I will not comfort you. I will not excuse you. I will tell you the truth. You are not tired. You are not too late. You are undisciplined. You are unfocused. And the only cure is action. Ruthless, organized, definite action. Success has a price, and so does regret. One you pay now, the other you pay in the silent agony of wasted years. If you still have breath, you have no excuse. Decide who you are. Face what you've avoided. Declare what you will become, and move. The tragedy of life is not what was taken from you. It is what you refuse to build. It is not the world's betrayal you should fear. It is the slow betrayal of your own potential. I say this to you not to hurt your pride, but to awaken your spirit. For the greatest torment known to man is not poverty, not failure, not criticism, but the gnawing awareness that you could have been more and chose less. That you had the blueprint in your hands and refused to build, that you were shown the laws of wealth, faith, power, and walked away in distraction, that you were told, this is the door, and you sat down and waited for it to open itself. Now I ask you, with no apology in my voice, why are you not already where you said you'd be? You said you would be free by now. Why aren't you? You said you'd have built the business, written the book, forged the body, taken command of your time, your life, your mind. Why hasn't it happened? What lie have you believed? What excuse have you repeated so often that it now wears the mask of reason? What weakness have you sheltered, nursed, defended, calling it realism, calling it balance, when in truth it is cowardice? Let us not pretend. Let us speak man to man. You were not stopped by hardship. You were stopped by hesitation. You were not held back by the world. You were delayed by your own refusal to demand more of yourself. The brutal truth is this: no one else will save you. No opportunity is coming that can outmatch your present potential. No mentor, no shortcut, no secret. You have everything you need already. You are simply not using it. You are the builder of your future, or the grave digger of your dreams. I will not coddle you. I will not comfort you. I will instruct you. If you seek softness, go back to sleep. If you seek truth, stand at attention. This message is not for the weak. It is for the man who still believes he was born for something greater. You are either the builder of your life or the witness to its burial. You must choose, and you must choose now. For the longer you wait, the more you decay. Let us look closely at your life. What do you tolerate? What have you allowed to persist? What small habits do you justify that poison your strength each day? What delay do you call patience? What fear have you mistaken for caution? Every time you tell yourself not yet, you tell the universe you do not want it badly enough. And so it withholds, not to punish you, but to test you, to see if you are worthy of command. And most are not. Most men will die in the same cycle they swore they would escape. They will lie on their deathbeds whispering, I could have, and I almost, and I was going to. But no man is measured by what he meant to do. He is measured by what he did. And if you continue as you are, half in, half out, half committed, half believing, then I must say it plainly. You will live a life you secretly despise, a life of mediocrity, of watching others rise, of scrolling through stories of success while telling yourself fictions about why your time is coming. Number your time is not coming. It is here. And if you do not act now, you do not deserve another chance. You are being watched by your own soul. Every day it takes account of your decisions. It observes your hesitation. It hears every silent promise you break. And it remembers That is why the man who betrays himself once finds it easier to do it again and again and again, until he no longer knows how to keep a vow, not even to himself. Let me give you the law. Every excuse you allow today becomes a habit tomorrow and a lifestyle by next year, and that lifestyle becomes your prison. But there is a way out. It begins with brutal truth, with facing what you've avoided, with ripping the mask off mediocrity and looking your own cowardice in the eye, not to be ashamed, but to change, to draw the line, to say once and for all, no more. I have walked this path. I have stood at the edge of despair. I have known the agony of failure, the shame of delay, the torment of watching others pass me by. And I have learned this. Success has a price. So does regret. One you pay now, the other you pay forever. But you must choose, for one cost leads to freedom, the other leads to decay. Now listen to me. Your transformation does not require talent. It does not require genius. It does not require perfect conditions. It requires a single thing, the decision to no longer betray yourself. That is the first step. And from that step, you will gain momentum. From momentum, you will gain belief. From belief, you will gain identity. And from identity, you will become unstoppable. You say you are tired? Then I ask you, tired of what? Tired of trying or tired of avoiding the truth? You are not tired. You are weighed down by your own inaction. The cure is not rest. It is purpose. It is movement. It is decision. Let me say again what the world will not tell you. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not weak. You are simply undisciplined, unclear, uncommitted. But that can change today. Write this down. Speak it aloud. Repeat it every day until it becomes law in your being. I will not betray myself again. Today I face what I've avoided, and I rise. Say it again. I will not betray myself again. Today I face what I've avoided, and I rise. Now you are ready to begin. No man was ever ruined by the blows of others before he first sabotaged himself. You may argue that men are crushed by injustice, by poverty, by betrayal. But I say to you now with the full weight of truth, all destruction begins within. The enemy is not the world. The enemy is not the critic. The enemy is not even failure. The true enemy is the man who cannot be trusted to keep the promises he made to himself in silence. That is the first betrayal, and it is the most dangerous. You remember, don't you, the night you stood in your room full of anger or fire or vision and swore to yourself that this would be the year, that you would rise, that you would focus, that you would become the man you were meant to be? And then you negotiated, you slept in, you waited, you silenced the inner general and let the coward speak. You betrayed yourself when no one was watching. That moment, that first moment, was the true fork in the road. Not the job loss, not the failure, not the betrayal by others. No, you abandoned yourself first. And then, like all men who break the sacred vow to their own soul, you watch the rest of your life follow in kind. Your confidence dropped. Your belief weakened. Your habits softened. Why? Because you taught yourself not to believe in your own word. This is no small matter. It is not a simple error. It is the slow execution of your future. When a man says, I will, and then does not, he trains the subconscious mind to accept weakness. And that subconscious mind is the gateway to infinite intelligence. It is the seat of your belief. It is the echo chamber of your inner commands. And if it cannot believe you, it cannot serve you. No man can walk into greatness while calling himself a liar each morning through his inaction. Let me give you a law. Repeated compromise forms identity, and identity forms destiny. That is how failure becomes permanent. Not in one decision, but in the daily erosion of your own standard. That's how you become the man who used to dream, the man who used to try, the man who almost built something, the man who becomes a warning to others instead of a testimony. Charles Schwab did not become great because he was born into privilege. He became great because he refused to lie to himself. When Carnegie gave him a task, he completed it, not only with excellence, but with initiative. When he said he would grow U.S. Steel into an empire, he did not delay. He did not hope. He declared and then acted. And when the world said it could not be done, he turned inward, not outward, for power, because he had trained his subconscious to believe in him. Now I ask you, when you say you will rise at dawn, do you obey? When you say you will build the business, do you begin immediately? When you say you will focus, do you eliminate distraction? Or do you allow your words to die in silence, hoping no one remembers? But you remember, and that memory becomes rot. Every broken promise to yourself creates decay, and decay left unchecked becomes identity. You see, every time you skip your aim, every time you weaken your standard, every time you delay your action, you are teaching your mind to lose. You are training yourself in failure. You are scripting the language of defeat into your own subconscious. That is not discipline. That is self-destruction. If you do not honor your own word, you have no foundation, no structure, no law within. And a man without law within must obey the laws of others. He must serve. He must follow. He must kneel, because he cannot rule his own soul. You want freedom? Then first prove you can follow your own command. When I began my journey, I had nothing. No title, no fortune, no advantage. But I had one asset that most men never protect: my own word to myself. I told myself I would finish Think and Grow Rich, and I did. I told myself I would interview the great men of our time, and I did. I told myself I would give the world a philosophy of success that any man could follow, and I did. Not because it was easy, but because I refused to break oath with myself. This is where you must begin, not with strategy, not with planning, not with seeking more information. You must begin by rebuilding the vow you made long ago, the one you whispered when you still believed you were destined for greatness. You must return to that vow, and this time you must obey it. From this day forward, you must become your own commander, and a commander does not negotiate with soldiers. He gives the order. He expects obedience. He enforces law. Let me make it plain. Your enemy is not the world. It is your daily negotiation with mediocrity. If you want to rise, then stop speaking the language of hesitation. Stop arguing for your limitations. Stop explaining why it's hard. It is hard. So what? Greatness is never given. It is claimed. It is earned through obedience to purpose and allegiance to self-command. You are not here to drift. You are not here to delay. You are here to build. And the first material you must lay is your own integrity. That means saying what you mean and doing it, no matter the mood, no matter the weather, no matter who is watching. Say this aloud: I do not break promises to myself. I am my own commander, and I obey. Say it again until your voice shakes. I do not break promises to myself. I am my own commander, and I obey. That is the beginning. That is the first law. That is how we restore the throne within. Let the world doubt. Let the critics mock. Let the weak men call you extreme. You were not born to be average. You were not born to explain yourself. You were born to declare and do, to think and grow rich. But the thinking must be clear, and the growing must be earned. And that earning begins with the sacred vow, I do not betray myself. Let me speak to you with the directness of a surgeon's blade. What you tolerate will rule you. Whatever you allow to exist unchallenged in your life will become the master of your future. You may wish for greatness. You may even believe in it. But if you tolerate weakness, delay, clutter, excuse, distraction, laziness, and low standards, then those very things will sit upon the throne that was meant for your purpose. Life does not hand men what they deserve. It hands them what they demand. And demands are not made with words. They are made with standards. Show me the man who tolerates disorder in his mind, and I will show you a life of chaos. Show me the man who tolerates procrastination, and I will show you dreams that never moved beyond the page. Show me the man who tolerates fear, and I will show you riches that were never claimed, relationships that were never built, power that was never used. Tolerance is a silent agreement with mediocrity. You may think you're being patient or being realistic, but more often you are just afraid to draw the line, afraid to burn the bridge behind you, afraid to say, "This ends now." Because when you raise your standard, you are declaring war against every part of you that made peace with failure. This law does not care if you feel ready. It does not care if you are supported. It does not care if your past was hard. It responds only to what you permit and what you demand. And if you allow weakness to stay in your life, if you rationalize it, dress it up, call it strategy or recovery, then weakness will multiply. It will grow like mold in a dark room, and soon it will cover the walls of your identity. But the man who tolerates nothing beneath excellence, he rules his life like a king. I told you I would not comfort you. I will tell you the truth. The man who tolerates drift will one day worship the man who refused it. You see them. You know them. The disciplined man, the sharp-eyed man, the one who shows up early, finishes what he starts, and keeps rising while others complain. You see him and feel envy, respect, maybe even resentment. But I tell you, he was not born that way. He simply refused to tolerate what you still excuse. That is all. He got honest. He drew a line. He paid the price. And now, life pays him. Do you want to change your life? Then perform this audit now, without excuse, without apology. Look at your routines, your conversations, your diet, your relationships, your habits, your thoughts, your income, your workspace, your calendar. Look at it all and ask, what am I tolerating that is weakening me? Where have I made room for softness? Where have I allowed just this once to become just the way it is? Every result you hate in your life is something you permitted. Read that again. Every result you hate is something you permitted. Do not argue. Do not blame. Take ownership and everything changes. You say the economy is hard? Good. Raise your value. You say people don't support you? Good. Build without applause. You say your past is full of pain? Good. Let it forge you. The moment you stop tolerating the lie that you are a victim, that is the moment you are reborn. Abraham Lincoln, failures stacked against him like a mountain, rejected, defeated, mocked. And yet he never allowed failure to settle into his soul. He refused to tolerate it. He lost again and again and refused to become the loss. That is what made him a monument. That is what makes any man rise, internal order. When a man orders his mind, his habits, his time, he gains power the world cannot give and the world cannot take. And the gate to that power is intolerance, the refusal to be ruled by anything less than the man you vowed to become. Let me tell you something plainly. Your power is asleep beneath what you've been tolerating. If you want to reclaim it, you must become violent with your own mediocrity. You must cut it out at the root. That may mean eliminating toxic friendships. That may mean rising before dawn while the world sleeps. That may mean fasting from distractions, saying no to pleasure, silencing the voice that says, just a little more rest. You are not here to rest. You are here to rise. Say it aloud with me. I raise my standard and enforce it. I tolerate only what makes me stronger. Say it again with fire. I raise my standard and enforce it. I tolerate only what makes me stronger. This is how you become a man of law, a man of authority, a man the world does not push around but listens to, because the man who enforces his own standard becomes a beacon to others. He becomes magnetic. He becomes rare, and rarity commands value. Now, go to war with everything you've tolerated. Your future demands it. Let us be done with this myth that desire is enough. Desire is the starting point, but it is not the finish line. The world does not reward the man who merely wants. It rewards the man who commands. And command is born of discipline. You may desire success. You may even desire it with a burning intensity. But until your daily actions are governed by law, your own law, you are still playing a boy's game in a man's world. The man who wins is not the one with the strongest feelings. It is the one with the strongest follow-through. You want to know what separates the dreamers from the builders? Discipline. Discipline is the proof that belief exists. Discipline is faith in action. Discipline is the visible evidence that you do not just wish to win, you expect to win. Because only the man who truly believes he is destined for greatness will train himself as if that greatness is already his responsibility. Thomas Edison did not invent the electric light through bursts of inspiration. He succeeded because he lived in disciplined application of belief. 10,000 failed attempts did not stop him, because he had already decided that success was inevitable. That is discipline. That is what the world bows to. Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop seeking motivation. Motivation is a child's game. It is wind. It comes and goes. But discipline is fire. It is forged. It is permanent. It does not ask how you feel. It asks only what is required. The man who relies on feeling will fall when conditions change. But the man of discipline moves regardless of mood, regardless of weather, regardless of applause. I say this with no softness. If you are still waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect plan, the perfect moment, you do not yet believe in your vision. For if you truly believed, your actions would already be military, your behaviors would already be precise, your rituals would already be in place. You would wake with command. You would move with force. You would track your time like a general tracks his army. You would not tolerate excuses, not from others and not from yourself. So let us build your discipline as a visible form of belief. Begin here. Write your definite chief aim each morning. Read it aloud as if your future depends on it, because it does. Rise before the world. Schedule your time by purpose, not preference. Track your behavior daily. Remove distractions with the violence of a man defending a kingdom. Reward only what aligns with your purpose. Punish what weakens it. This is how a man reclaims dominion over his life. Because make no mistake, discipline is the foundation of dominion. Without it, you will always be ruled by impulse, by distraction, by the mediocre voices of a world that fears the rise of a man with inner law. Let the weak call it rigid. Let the comfortable call it obsessive. Let the drifters laugh. But understand this, the world only laughs until it kneels. And it always kneels before discipline, because discipline builds proof, and proof builds power, and power builds freedom. The man of discipline does not hope for the life he desires. He builds it brick by brick, hour by hour, habit by habit, in quiet, when no one is watching. And then, suddenly, everyone watches. They call him lucky. They call him gifted. But he knows the truth. He trained while they rested. He sacrificed when they indulged. He obeyed when they doubted. He enforced when they excused. And now he reaps what they only imagined. Now repeat after me. I train myself as a soldier of wealth. Discipline is the mark of a man who wins. Say it again with clarity and commitment. I train myself as a soldier of wealth. Discipline is the mark of a man who wins. This is the separation. This is the turning point. This is the law. You will not be rewarded for wanting more. You will be rewarded for commanding more of yourself. Obey this law and rise. The thing you fear, the task you delay, the truth you refuse to face is not your enemy. It is the key. It is the lock on your potential. And it is the door you must walk through if you ever intend to become the man you were born to be. Avoidance is not safety. Avoidance is spiritual weakness. Every day you delay action on the things that call your soul into tension, you shrink. You teach your subconscious that you cannot be trusted to pursue what matters. You train yourself to lose. You already know what it is, that one thing you have not faced, the conversation you have avoided, the work you've delayed, the discipline you've excused, the truth about yourself you've buried under productivity, social media, or false busyness. But here's the law. The exact place where you feel the most resistance is the precise place where your power is trapped. The man who wishes to grow cannot look away. He must walk into the furnace. He must do the thing he dreads. That is the difference between the average man and the architect of destiny. The average man waits for the fear to go away. The great man walks through it. Andrew Carnegie became powerful not because he sought ease, but because he sought conflict. He lived in it. He thrived in it. He faced risk, opposition, lawsuits, betrayal, and he chose to confront it all. Why? Because he valued freedom more than comfort. He knew that what the average man avoids is the exact terrain where legacies are built. You must do the same. Ask yourself right now, what am I avoiding? What action have I delayed so long that it now haunts me? What truth have I refused to speak? What step have I postponed while telling myself, I'm planning, or I'm waiting for the right time, when in truth I'm afraid? Let us speak plainly. You can lie to others for years, but the soul knows the truth. It records every evasion. It remembers every excuse, and if you do not confront it, it will judge you. Not loudly, but slowly, daily. Through the silent erosion of your own confidence, you cannot escape it. You cannot bury it. You cannot hide from the voice that says, face this. And until you do, you are a prisoner. The door you won't open is the door to your empire. You may pretend it isn't there. You may work around it. You may build routines and rituals and goals that skirt the hard thing, but until you face it, you will not rise. Because everything you seek is on the other side of that resistance. Do not wait for permission. Do not pray for easier roads. Run toward it. Let your fear become your compass. If it makes you tremble, it is the next mountain to conquer. You cannot build greatness by hiding in comfort. You must plant your flag in the land of your fear. This is how strength is born. This is how greatness is forged. Say it aloud with full conviction. I run toward what I used to avoid. My power is on the other side of my resistance. Say it again as a declaration to your own soul. I run toward what I used to avoid. My power is on the other side of my resistance. The man who rises is not fearless. He is simply faithful to his aim, to his vow, to his future. And faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is obedience in the face of it. From this day forward, you must go toward the fire. You must make it law that avoidance is weakness and action is power. Whatever you have delayed, do it. Whatever you have feared, face it. Whatever you have postponed, begin it today. Do not break momentum. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not delay what your spirit knows is required. This is the law. What you avoid is the lock on your potential. And what you face, you free. Hope is the language of the weak. Declaration is the language of the strong. The man who still hopes to become something, who hopes to succeed, hopes to be disciplined, hopes for wealth, is a man still standing on the shore, afraid to burn the boat and claim the island. Let me give you this law plainly. The weak man hopes, the strong man declares. Hope waits, declaration moves. Hope says, I wish. Declaration says, I will. And the entire universe responds, not to your wishes, but to your will. Do not misunderstand me. There is a place for hope in the beginning. Hope lights the fire. Hope lets a man imagine a greater life. But it is only imagination until the will commands it into reality. The man who remains in hope too long becomes a drifter. He dreams in circles. He speaks of what he desires, but never moves with force toward it. Listen to me. You must stop speaking as if you have no power. You must stop speaking as if life is happening to you. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are not a victim of your past or your pain or your delay. You are a builder, a commander, and commanders do not hope, they declare, and then they obey their own voice. You've said for too long, I hope this works. I hope this is my year. I hope I find clarity. That language must die. It is the vocabulary of drift. It is the tongue of the defeated, and it is the reason you've remained where you are. When Henry Ford declared he would build an automobile that every working man could afford, the world laughed. His own engineers said it could not be done. The market said it could not be done. But he was not asking for permission. He was declaring a new future. And because he believed it with such intensity, he acted with military discipline. He did not wait to be understood. He did not seek approval. He commanded the future and then built it. That is the law. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, but only if it is backed by will. You have conceived much. You may even believe it is possible, but belief alone does not bring results. Belief must take on form, and that form is action, repeated, relentless, disciplined action, until your words are law in your world. Let me ask you, are your words law? Or are they wishes? Do you say, I will write the book and then write it? Do you say, I will rise at dawn and then rise? Do you say, I will become rich and then plan, act, and demand results? Or do you say, and delay? Your life is the reflection of your declarations, not the ones spoken once, but the ones repeated, reinforced, obeyed. And if your life is small, uncertain, vague, it is because your declarations have been small, uncertain, and vague. So I command you now, speak the vision aloud, say it daily, build the rituals to support it, and act as if it is already yours. Write your definite aim. Speak it into the silence each morning and each night. Let your voice reprogram your belief. Let your belief restructure your behavior. Let your behavior reform your identity. And let your identity shape your destiny. This is the path. This is the difference between the man who drifts and the man who dominates. The weak man hopes. The strong man declares. And now I say to you, declare. Say it with me now, aloud, with force. I do not hope, I decide. My vision speaks in commands, not wishes. Again, until it echoes in your subconscious. I do not hope, I decide. My vision speaks in commands, not wishes. Because you are not here to wait, you are here to become. And becoming begins with command. You do not need another break. You need a break from the man who keeps breaking his word, the man who justifies weakness, the man who lets himself off the hook, the man who says tomorrow, and then curses the mirror a year later. If you are not willing to get brutally honest with yourself, you will remain broken, not by the world, but by your own tolerance of the pathetic. I am not here to dress it in softness. You have already tried that. You have given yourself time, forgiveness, recovery, mercy, and yet you are still in the same cycle, not because you are unlucky, not because life is unfair, but because you have refused to become ruthless with the part of you that enables defeat. There is a lie being sold to the modern man, that he must be gentle with himself, that he must not push too hard, that he must rest and reflect, that he must love every part of himself, even the parts that sabotage his future. That is not strength. That is the language of self-sabotage. The man who does not go to war with his lower self will lose to it. And once you lose to that version of you long enough, you begin to identify with it. And once that happens, every goal you set becomes just another fantasy, because the man who sets the goal is not the man who can keep it. He is soft. He is addicted to ease. He is broken, not by trauma, but by his unwillingness to draw the blade and cut the weak part of him away. I did not become who I am through kindness to my weaknesses. I became who I am through violence to the lies I once believed. I sat in rooms with nothing, no money, no fame, no proof that I would ever rise. and I had to confront, with absolute brutality, the man I had been. I had to ask questions that stripped me down to the bone. Why am I still poor? Why do I delay what I know must be done? Why do I still speak of purpose but sleep like a slave to comfort? Why do I preach faith but move with doubt? And I answered with no filters, no justifications, no sentiment, because only when you remove the veil can you rebuild. Reconstruction begins with demolition. If you do not destroy the false self, the old story, the fragile identity, then you are trying to build on rotted wood. And you wonder why your foundations keep collapsing. You wonder why your success never sustains. It is because you are still building as the man you once were, instead of killing that man and rebuilding with stone. The truth is not cruel. The truth is your only ally. And until you confront yourself without pity, you are not free. You are a prisoner of the part of you that fears confrontation. The man who fears confrontation with himself will never be able to confront the world. He will negotiate when he should enforce. He will pause when he should strike. He will collapse when he should rise. Do not misunderstand. Brutality does not mean self-hate. Brutality is self-respect at the highest level. It is saying, I am worth telling the truth to. It is saying, my future matters enough to offend the part of me that is comfortable with weakness. When you become brutal, you begin to see, you begin to cut away the unnecessary. The conversations, the habits, the people, the language, the wasted time. You begin to measure yourself not by intentions, but by results. You begin to keep score, not to shame yourself, but to build precision. Track your habits, audit your thoughts, evaluate your associations. Measure your days by what was built, not by what was felt. And where you find softness, cut it. Where you find drift, discipline it. Where you find lies, replace them with commands. This is how a man is rebuilt, not through comfort, but through confrontation followed by action. Let me say this to you with absolute clarity. You do not need another recovery period. You need a revolt. You need to rise up against the version of yourself that whispers delay, defends fear, makes excuses, and calls it balance. That voice must be silenced, not with kindness, but with law, the law of decision, the law of discipline, the law of self-enforcement. Do you want to be reborn? Then slaughter the part of you that tolerates excuses. Kill the voice that tells you to slow down. Strip yourself of every identity that was built by fear, built by failure, built by quitting. Burn it. Replace it with new words, new rules, new rituals. That is the beginning of transformation. Not reading more books, not buying more courses, not waiting for clarity. Just this. I will no longer allow myself to live below the man I am meant to be, and then act. Now speak with authority. I am brutally honest with myself. I rebuild by truth, not illusion. Again, until it is branded into your subconscious. I am brutally honest with myself. I rebuild by truth, not illusion. There is no victory without war. There is no resurrection without death. And the man who rises from weakness is not born from gentleness. He is born from fire, the fire of honesty, the fire of cutting through the lies he once used to stay comfortable. You want peace? First, go to war with everything inside you that made peace with mediocrity. You want wealth? First, bankrupt every excuse you still hold dear. You want power? Then strip yourself bare of all the comfort language and feel-good philosophies that say, you're doing your best. Number. You're doing what you permit. And if you don't get brutal, you will stay broken. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must look into the mirror, not to admire himself, not to adjust his appearance, but to answer one question with the full weight of honesty. Have I moved when I was called to move? Not dreamed, not hoped, not planned, moved. Because if the answer is no, then let me give you the law that governs the rest of your life. If you do not act now, you will work for the man who did. There is no neutral ground. There is no middle lane. You are either the builder of the enterprise or the employee of the one who dared. The marketplace is not sentimental. It does not care about your intentions. It only honors execution. It respects the man who moves when others debate and punishes the one who waits while others build. I say this to you not to provoke fear, but to provoke urgency, because your dream, your freedom, your wealth, your empire is not just slipping away slowly. It is being claimed by someone else while you think. Every time you pause, someone else presses forward. Every time you hesitate, someone else decides. Every time you explain your delay, another man out there is moving through his own fear and building what you still haven't begun. Movement is not a suggestion. It is the price of leadership. The man who waits to feel ready is destined to work for the man who moved when he wasn't. Look around, study history. Every titan you admire, every man who rewrote his destiny, did so with imperfect clarity. He did not have guarantees. He did not have safety. He had a decision, and he acted. Edwin C. Barnes is such a man. He had no money, no credentials, no connection to Thomas Edison. But he had one decision, that he would work with Edison, not for him. And that decision possessed him so completely, he boarded a freight train to New Jersey and announced his intention to Edison's face. No resume, no title, just a burning desire and the boldness to move. Did Edison laugh? Number. He saw the fire in Barnes's eyes. He saw a man who had already decided his future, and the world respects that kind of man. Barnes did not start in glory. He began by sweeping floors. But his decision was so definite, so unwavering, that within a few years, Edison gave him a share in one of his most profitable inventions. Why? Because opportunity bows to the man who moves. And now I ask you, where is your movement? What have you postponed? What have you labeled as complicated or later or someday? If you had moved when you first thought of it, where would you be now? What enemy did you allow to claim your territory because you stood still? What idea did you watch someone else bring to market while you waited for conditions to be perfect? Let me give you another law. The price of waiting is not just time. It is your dream, sold to the man who acted while you debated. You do not get it back. You do not get to delay and expect the world to hold your place. It won't. It will hand it to the one who showed up. Movement must become law, not a feeling, not a preference, a law, like gravity. You feel the pull, you move. You receive the idea, you begin. You sense the discomfort, you enter it. You do not pause to question. You do not circle the same thought for weeks. You do not wait for clarity, because clarity comes from movement, not before it. I am not asking you to be reckless. I am commanding you to act. Definite purpose must be followed by definite action. Without it, your purpose is only fantasy. And fantasies are the playground of the poor. Only when thought becomes action, fast, firm, forceful, does it begin to generate power. Speed is the language of belief. When you move quickly, the subconscious receives the message. He believes in himself, and it begins to serve you. You become magnetic, focused, certain, and certainty is rare. Certainty attracts. Certainty builds. Certainty makes others follow you, even when they don't yet understand your vision. But the man who hesitates, the man who overthinks, he trains his subconscious to distrust him. He sends the message, I am not ready. And life responds with delay, resistance, and missed opportunities, not to punish you, but to mirror you. So today I give you a new law. I move when others hesitate. I act while others analyze. I build while others drift. I win because I move. Say it with force. I move when others hesitate. Speed is the language of belief. Again, I move when others hesitate. Speed is the language of belief. This is not a motivational phrase. It is a command to your subconscious. From this moment forward, you will not delay. You will not wait for the stars to align. You will decide. You will move. You will act with imperfect clarity and correct course in motion, because every second you delay, someone else is claiming your future. Move now or serve forever. Those are the only two options left. You cannot wish your way into a new life. You must build the new man. And no man becomes new without paying the full price of transformation. You may have read every book, listened to every philosophy, even repeated every affirmation. But until your daily behavior reflects a death of the old self and the disciplined birth of a new one, your change is illusion. Identity is not confirmed by intentions. Identity is forged by repetition, through law, through obedience, through command. It does not matter who you want to become. It matters only what you repeatedly do. Because thoughts shape words. Words shape behavior. Behavior forms identity. And identity controls destiny. That is the chain. That is the structure. That is the principle that makes a man rise or keeps him enslaved to the very thoughts he claims he no longer believes in. Most men live in contradiction. They speak like kings but act like servants. They write goals but live in reaction. They whisper promises to themselves at night but break them in the morning. That is not transformation. That is torture. The man who desires change but refuses the price of discipline becomes his own prison. And worse, he knows it. He carries the weight of that self-betrayal in his posture, in his eyes, in the way he hesitates, in the way he flinches at responsibility. You cannot fake power. The man who has rebuilt himself moves differently. He is not louder, he is clearer. He is not perfect, he is committed. He is not emotional, he is anchored. You can sense when a man has paid the price. You can feel when a man has buried his former self and chosen the pain of structure over the chaos of indulgence. I speak from experience. I was once that drifting man. I knew the laws. I wrote them. But there were times in my life when I failed to enforce them. And in those seasons I suffered. Not because the world attacked me, but because I tolerated the shadow of the old self. I allowed compromise. I excused weakness. And every day I allowed it to breathe. It grew stronger. I had to kill that version of me, not with shame, but with law, not with guilt, but with standards. And it was not a one-time act. It was daily. It was hourly. It was choosing moment by moment, I am not him anymore. You must do the same, and you must understand, the new you must be earned. There is no other way. There is no shortcut. You must be willing to bury the old man. You must be willing to offend your former self, to silence him, to outwork him, to outdecide him, to prove by your habits, by your language, by your rituals that he no longer exists. And the only way to do that is with discipline so ruthless it becomes love. You show love for your future by killing what betrays it. You show belief in your dream by organizing your life around it. You show respect for your soul by silencing the voice that still wants to feel good more than it wants to become great. Let us write it in stone. The new man finishes what he starts. He speaks less and builds more. He acts first and explains later. He does not need motivation because he lives by structure. He does not need to be seen because he is driven by law. He does not fear silence because his soul is louder than applause. He protects his time, his thoughts, his aim. He no longer entertains weakness. He no longer asks permission. He no longer apologizes for wanting to become everything God put in him to be. But hear me now, this man is not found, he is forged. And the forge is repetition, law, sacrifice, command, decision repeated until it becomes identity. You cannot speak him into existence. You must obey him into existence. And every day you hesitate, every day you drift, every day you negotiate, you allow the old man to breathe again. Kill him, not once, but daily. Every time you choose law over emotion, you bury him. Every time you honor your vow, you bury him. Every time you keep a promise in silence, you bury him. And with every burial, the new man rises. But let me warn you, this is not a 1-month process. This is not a 30-day challenge. This is your new way of life. If you think this is temporary, you will slip back. If you think this is seasonal, you will relapse. You must become the man who lives this way because it is who he is, not just what he's doing. So I command you now, choose your identity, not based on your past, not based on your family, not based on your feelings, based on your definite chief aim, based on what you've seen in your spirit, based on the man who's been calling you from within for years. Then build rituals to confirm it. What time does that man wake up? What does he allow into his mind? How does he speak? How does he walk? What does he no longer tolerate? Design it, write it, live it, until the world cannot remember who you used to be. Now say this aloud with full force and commitment. I have killed the old man. I build the new man through law, belief, and daily obedience. Say it again, not for me, for you. I have killed the old man. I build the new man through law, belief, and daily obedience. Let that become your daily vow, your internal creed, your spoken contract that this is your rebirth.